The average automobile in the United States is over 17 feet long, nearly 7 feet wide, and weighs more than 2,500 pounds. It can turn full circle in less than twice its length and can maneuver into a space no more than 2 feet longer than its own length. This automobile can reach speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour, although the highest U.S. speed limit is generally 70 miles per hour. Even at the top legal speed, this 2,500-pound vehicle exerts an impact force of over 25 tons and requires over 300 feet, more than the length of a football field, to bring to a stop. Yet, when it's driven and handled properly, it gives drivers a safe, convenient freedom of movement unknown just a few generations ago. To enjoy that freedom, there are certain basic tasks you need to master in controlling your vehicle. This tape deals with some of the most important of those basics. As a driving instructor, I teach student drivers of all legal ages the basics of safe driving. And with just a little practice, they all learn them well enough to become safe, licensed drivers. Yet, we read every day of accidents caused by drivers losing control of their cars. The reason? Well, they forgot that these basics are not just sometime things. So as we go over them, I'd like to stress that you need to not only learn and practice them, but to make it a rule of your driving to follow them every time you get behind the wheel. Okay, let's begin. Take the simplest first, leaving your car parked on level ground. There are 4 actions to take. First, after the car is stopped, shift into park. Second, apply the parking brake. Both are essential. What looks like level ground often is inclined enough that a car can roll. Uh-oh, that's number 3. Don't forget to turn off the engine and take the keys. Then, number 4, lock your car, even if you're leaving it for only a few minutes. It can be hot-wired and driven away in less than 10 seconds. Parking uphill has been the undoing of many drivers who forget one simple safety step. If you're parking next to a curb, just before the car stops, turn the wheel hard left, then shift to neutral and brake slightly as the front wheels settle against the curb. Shift to park and set the brake just as on level ground. One caution, be sure to park no more than a foot from the curb so this won't happen. Where there is no curb, be sure to pull off the road as far as possible and do the same things, with one exception. Turn the wheel sharp right before shifting to park and setting the brake. Parking downhill next to a curb. Turn the wheel sharply to the right and let the front wheels settle against the curb. Logical, isn't it? But too many drivers forget it. Not a good way to make friends. One more clue on parking, this time downhill without a curb. Same as with a curb, turn the front wheels hard right, then gear shift into park and brake. The logic of parking is to use the curb as a stop, and where there is no curb, turn the wheels away from traffic. Okay, get ready to move into traffic. Don't forget to signal and check for oncoming vehicles. You're responsible for staying out of their way. And remember, traffic coming downhill may be coming faster than on level ground. Of course, you'll check the traffic side rearview mirror, but there's a blind spot to your left rear that the mirror cannot show you. Always glance over your shoulder to make sure that the area is clear. Also, visually check the blind spot before moving out and centering your vehicle in the traffic lane. In traffic, make a habit of always following 3 safe driving practices. Continually scan left, right, and center as far ahead as traffic or sight lines will let you. Maintain proper spacing between yourself and other vehicles. Never drive so close or so fast that you can't stop in time if traffic ahead suddenly came to a dead stop. The right following distance lets you see further ahead so you can take in the big picture of what's happening ahead of you. Just as important, you can avoid the car ahead if it stops suddenly. A good way to maintain a safe following distance in normal driving conditions is to use the 3-second rule, staying 3 seconds behind the car ahead of you. Here's how to measure it. Pick out a fixed checkpoint ahead. In this case, a telephone pole. It could just as easily be a line on the road or a shadow laying across it. When the vehicle ahead of you hits that checkpoint, begin counting 1001, 1002, 1003. When you say the 3, your vehicle should not yet have reached the checkpoint. If it has, slow slightly to increase the cushion between you and the car ahead. The 3-second system works well at all speeds because as speed increases, so does the 3-second distance between you and the car ahead. Don't forget though, as road conditions change, traffic becomes heavy, or you run into rain, snow, or fog, you will want to increase that distance to 4, 5, perhaps as much as 10 seconds in very adverse conditions. What if the driver of the car behind you does not use the 3-second rule and tailgates you? What can you do to protect yourself? Well, you have 3 options. You can increase your speed to move at least 4 seconds ahead of the tailgater. Then, if you have to stop or slow suddenly, the rear car has time to respond, and the extra distance lets you signal your intent early. Often, you can't increase speed without tailgating a car in front of you. In that case, increase your distance from that car by slowing slightly. Then, if the lead car stops suddenly, you can do it more slowly, giving the tailgater more time to respond. When you use this technique of slowing to increase stopping distance, the tailgater may speed up to close the gap. If so, move slightly to the right so he can see traffic farther ahead. He very well may pass you at that time because tailgaters will generally do that at the first opportunity. A final option is to pull out of traffic and let the tailgater go. You can also do this if traffic is piling up behind you and can't pass because of hills, curves, or oncoming traffic. And remember, different road surfaces provide different traction. You add rain to a dry road surface, and what was once enough stopping distance becomes an invitation to an insurance claim. The same is true of a gravel surface, and ice is far worse. When it comes to steering a car, a good rule to use while learning is to make slight corrections often. Practice will tell you how much. Some beginners oversteer, causing their vehicle to weave. Others understeer, going too far in a straight line before correcting. With a little practice, proper steering will soon become second nature for you. You'll almost think of your vehicle as an extension of yourself. And practice with an instructor in both rural and city settings will help you quickly master right and left turns. But sooner or later, you'll need to perform another steering maneuver that gives many beginners trouble: backing up with speed and direction under control. Practicing a few simple basics can make it an easy job. Backing up safely involves knowing where to look, how to steer, and how to control your speed. First, something you should not do. Never back by using your rearview mirrors. Why? Well, because they give you tunnel vision. Mirrors show only a small fraction of what you need to see while backing. A side mirror shows only one side. The inside mirror shows only a narrow view of what's directly behind. They offer no peripheral vision. So while you're backing safely based on what you see, you can encounter things that you don't see, and some things that, well, don't see you. Let's try that again the right way. First, make sure there are no obstructions, pedestrians, or oncoming traffic on either side. Then, get in correct position to clearly see behind you. Your hand is on the steering wheel at the 12 o'clock position. Your body is turned sideways with your arm over the back of your seat. Note that in this position, you not only see your intended path of travel, but your peripheral vision also notices anything moving on either side of your car. Keep your foot on the brake pedal as you shift into reverse, and then release the brake pedal slowly, letting the vehicle creep backward. Control direction by moving the top of the steering wheel in the direction you want to go. Just as when driving forward, don't oversteer. Make your corrections often and slight. Keep your foot over the brake pedal, always prepared to stop. Often you will back to a crossroad or a crosswalk, in which case, come to a dead stop. Then, turn forward and carefully check that both directions are clear. In the case of a crossroad, continue backing and turn to position yourself in the driving lane in the direction you wish to go. One driving maneuver that many beginners don't think about, and some aren't even taught, is the proper way to turn a vehicle around. Now, I'd like to show you the two best methods because, well, they're the lowest risk. They involve using a driveway or a side road like this. To use a right side driveway for your turnaround, first, signal your intent by using your right turn signal. Then, stop with your rear bumper a foot or two beyond the driveway and back slowly to the right until your vehicle is completely off the highway. Before pulling out on the highway, signal a left turn and wait for any traffic to clear before pulling out. The advantage of this method is that you re-enter traffic going forward. A second method uses a driveway or side road on the left. Check traffic from both directions, signal a left turn, and turn left into the turnaround, pulling completely off the highway. Stop with your wheels completely straight. Check traffic again, especially from the right before you back out onto the highway. Remember, this requires you to stop in a traffic lane, so be sure you can complete the turn before any traffic arrives. Well, certainly there are other ways of turning around. The U-turn, for example, which is illegal in many areas, or turning around when you cross a lane of traffic, or turning around completely on the roadway. But even experienced drivers should rarely use these three maneuvers because they represent much higher risks. Three guidelines to remember for making safe turnarounds: prefer a method that uses a driveway or a side road. Now, if possible, use the one that lets you re-enter the roadway moving forward. And prefer the methods that block the fewest traffic lanes and for the shortest time. Sooner or later, every beginning driver has to face one nagging reality: rising price of gasoline. Now, 25 years ago, it cost about 62 cents a gallon, far below today's prices. There are several driving techniques that can help you get the most miles out of every gallon you burn. Let's take a look at some of them. Today's cars can generate very high speeds, and most auto routes and expressways are designed to handle those speeds. But remember, the faster you push beyond a certain speed, the less fuel efficient your engine is. For example, if your car gets 20 miles per gallon at 55 miles an hour, care to guess how much it gets at 75? On average, 14 miles. So you lose 6 miles for every gallon burned. And aside from risking a speeding ticket, you'd lose 120 miles on a 20-gallon tank full. And at today's prices, that can be expensive. Many new vehicles get top efficiency between 50 and 55 miles an hour. Keep it there, and you save money. When the weather is cool enough, you can use another fuel saver. Drive with the windows closed to cut wind resistance and save as much as a mile a gallon. In cold weather, your heater doesn't use up fuel, so it's a net savings. But in warm weather, an air conditioner would offset the fuel savings. So this is a low temperature tip. But here's two you can use any time of year. At traffic lights or stop signs, coast to a stop. Drivers who brake quickly at the last second waste fuel. And when you start, build up to road speed slowly. Jackrabbit starts eat more fuel per distance traveled than just about anything else you can do. The greatest fuel consumption is within the first few minutes after starting a cold engine. A warm engine is much more fuel efficient than a cold one. And one final tip: avoid excess idling, because it uses fuel for no reason, and eventually it can damage your engine. Today, we've just scratched the surface on the kinds of techniques you need to practice to become a safe driver. You'll learn others as this course goes on, but parking, entering traffic, steering, backing, and turning around are involved in nearly every other part of driving. So practice them with an instructor or a licensed adult until they become second nature. But no matter how skilled you get, always think about what you're doing when you're behind the wheel. That way you'll not only take control, you'll stay in control. Drive safely.